Hello everybody and welcome to a beautiful day. It's our Super Saturday coverage from Road America just outside Elkhart Lake in the state of Wisconsin. John Hindorf and Peter Mackay in the Global Broadcast Centre for you for our first of two races in the 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup North America. Incredibly, this is already our sixth season of Carrera Cup North America. Yeah, a beautiful Elkhart Lake, fabulous part of the world to come to any time of the year. They love their racing, particularly their sports car racing around these parts. Turn one, ridiculously quick. A lift, maybe drag a brake, then turn in. Down to turn number 3 actually, and then the run down to turn number 5. We've had a lot of incidents there already today, and I expect to see some more overtaking opportunities there, possibly at turn 8 as well, at the bottom end of Hurry Downs, through the carousel, the kink, and to Canada Corner. From Canada Corner, the right-hander at turn 12 to the start-finish line is all uphill, so you are really trying to keep your momentum up. It's a fabulous day with the temperature in the air at 72 Fahrenheit, 95 Fahrenheit on the track. That transfers to 22 Celsius in the air, 35 on the track. That's pretty much perfect for the Carrera Cup cars and their Yokohama tyres, running the Advan 8005s. Of course, Peter Mackay with me here in the business end of the championship season now, Peter. Cars running on the circuit at the moment. Let's have a quick look at the grids. 14 rows of Porsches. On the 28th position, it's Michael Oriyama for Nola Sport, with ACI Motorsports Alex Pratt alongside him. That's a Masters and a Pro driver there. Then two Pro-Am drivers, Javier Ripoll and Brady Behrman for City Marine Motorsports and Van der Steur Racing. Then Scott Blind and Todd Parriott on row number 12. Wes Slimp and Richard H on row 11 for Kelly Moss and ACI. And all JTR Motorsports Engineering row forms the front row of the Masters. Rob Walker on the outside of that, and Peter Atwater has captured the Masters pole position. Michael McCann and Alexander Ryman on row number 9. Row 8, Matty Stewart and John Jourdain. JP Martinez and Alan Metney on row 7 are the Pro-Am front row. Then it's Paul Bocuse and Sabra Cook on row 6. Row 5, Matthias Leist and Michael Di Casada. Yves Baltas and Jared Thomas on row number 4. Third row, Aaron Johnson, Zach Vanier. Second row, Ryan Yardley and Jimmy Hebre. And Ryan Dickinson on the outside of the front row has Tyler Maxson on his, what will be his right-hand side, closest to the pit wall for Top Racing in the number 77. They're following in behind the new for this round, Race Brew liveried safety car. The Race Brew livery, a product of an online competition, and will be with us for the rest of the season. Safety car lights are out. And now it is up to Tyler Maxson to bring the field around. Heading up that long incline. It's a 40-minute race, no pit stops. Well, if we do have pit stops, then there's an issue. Very slow pace from Tyler Maxson. Riley Dickinson, the runaway championship leader, pipped to pole position in the green and white Kelly Moss racing car. Flag is in the air. Now, let's see who has the better run down to the first corner. Looks like the inside row was the best, and immediately pulling out the red and black car of Jimmy Lieblet, who goes around the outside. That'll be a bold manoeuvre if he can go from third to first, and that's exactly what he does. Absolutely brilliant manoeuvre, and Riley Dickinson's trying to follow him round as they plunge down towards turn number 3. Dickinson for a moment on the grass and down to P3, trying to get back up into second position. Still side by side between the green and white number 91 and the 77 of pole sitter Tyler Maxson. He's getting shuffled back through into third place. Zach Vanier, who started in 5th, and he's trying to upgrade that to a second position as he tries to go around the outside. My goodness me, this is really showing Porsche Carrera Cup North America racing at its best. 2 wide and several deep down through the field, and the big beneficiary of this is Jimmy Lieblet for ACI Motorsports. He's got a gap, and that is a significant gap in this form of racing. Everyone else battling over second place, with Riley Dickinson, our championship leader, holding on to that at the moment. But Ryan Yardley right in there as well. Another inside manoeuvre. 96 in that red and white car, Jared Thomas. We've seen him run that livery in other championships. The JTR car with Aaron Johnson, and Yves Boltas is in there as well. It's going to be a very different timing and scoring screen when they finish the first lap to the grid that I gave you as we were coming to green. Exactly what we expect from the Porsches here. Flat 6-cylinder engine, 4 litres, normally aspirated. Sounds like nothing else. Michael De Quesada making up a position there as well on Yves Boltas. Matthias Leist and Sabra Cook right there as well towards the bottom of the top 10. And just outside it as they complete the first lap. Jimmy Lieblet now only 0.3 of a second to the good as Riley Dickinson drags up to the back, and then there's a 6.5 gap back to Zach Vanier, who's got 0.4 on Ryan Yardley. Jared Thomas in the red and white Chevron car, the number 96 in 5th position. But look at these battles in the midfield, side by side by side, 3 wide going down the hill, and Michael De Quesada is the one that loses out to Sabra Cook, and Tyler Maxson also in there. It's a bun fight in the midfield. Peter. So down the inside for that red, white and black number 11 of Michael De Quesada, and that was ambitious. He was getting there, he just couldn't get it stopped, and the Nola Sport car and Matthias Leist just in the way.
Several positions on the straight, so perhaps not all is not well at the cockpit there of Tyler Maxson in the number 77 car. But what a start from Jimmy Liebret, from 3rd on the grid, and quickly got up into 2nd and then into 1st, and he's got Riley Dickinson right on his case. But brilliant start from the driver from the Dominican Republic. Zach Vanier in 3rd, and Ryan Yardley, he's the big championship rival, of course, for Riley. Dickinson, what's happened to Dickinson? Dickinson's dropped several positions. 5th place. So what has happened on that lap for Riley Dickinson, John? Very, very odd there for Riley Dickinson. That was a lap there for the Texan, 2 seconds slower than the rest. In fact, over 2 seconds slower than the rest. So something went wrong there for the number 91 of Riley Dickinson, and that of course launches Yardley ahead. Yardley now up to third. So with 35 minutes on the clock, Riley Dickinson's got some work to do, but it's Libre at the front with Zachary Vanier in the Dom's Pizza machine, the man from Ontario in Canada, who will be delighted with his lot from the previous round at Watkins Glen, managing to pick up a big chunk of points there, and of course a win in those races. Very, very pleasing for him. But for Maxon, it's a little bit of a mystery as Aaron Johnson in front of him in 6th position. This is the battle for the Rookies Championship. These two youngsters have been locked in a battle for that all season long, and Janson in that passion red machine holding on to 6th overall. Maxon, the pole sitter, trying to make a pressure on here as they come through the carousel and down towards the kink. Very, very quick in a Porsche 992 GT3 Cup. A little bit of a lift at 140 miles an hour and then back on the power hard, exiting at around 125 for the run through Kettle Bottoms down towards Canada Corner.
And still plenty of racing to go, with still 33, call it 34 minutes on the clock right now.
So Maxon all over the back of Janson here. They've lost a little bit of the gap to the chasing, to the front pack, excuse me. Led at the moment by Jimmy Libre with Zachary Vanier in there, Ryan Yardley in third. Jared Thomas, good start for Jared. Red and white livery, which was sported on the Tag McLarens in the mid-1980s, which of course was powered by a Porsche and designed and built engine. And Dickinson now putting the heat on as Thomas has to go to the inside line, but Jared Thomas, a very experienced as the MX5 Cup racer, so he knows what hand-to-hand combat is all about, and going very defensive now on the run down through the Moraine sweep underneath the Sargento Cheese Bridge, and then hit the brakes from 160 miles an hour there, going down into turn 5. Dickinson's going to try and go all the way around the outside there, I reckon.
Further down the field, the familiar colours of the cream and red and white stripe, number 53, aping Herbie the Love Bug. That's Rob Walker, second in the Masters category to Peter Atwater, who was the green and white car ahead of him. Third, Scott Blind in the Masters Championship, who's the car behind, which is the yellow and purple machine. 3 different categories here, by far the most in the pro category. The Pro-Am, led by JP Martinez. He's having a good season for ACI Motorsport. Alan Mekney with Madeline Stewart, Maddie Stewart for JDX, the pro driver between them. And then the mark category, top 5 together, Atwater, Walker, Scott Blinn, Todd Parriott and Richard Edge, within 2.5 seconds of each other. And that championship still interesting as well in the Masters category. In Pro-Am, JP Martinez has held sway. Mekney trying to fight back. At the front of the field, it's still Jimmy Libre who leads it. Peter Atwater in the green and white car, though, under pressure now from Rob Walker in that number 53 as they come through the final corner. How good does that Porsche 992.1 Cup car look? And I do like the slightly weathered look that they've got on that as well. On the wheel arches, you'll notice it's slightly discoloured. It's meant to be like that. That's the way the wrap is. And now Jared Thomas is under pressure from a recovering Riley Dickinson. I mean, he could almost take a couple of rounds off Peter, but there's some pride here, and he's dragged up behind that red and white Chevron car. He'll pull to driver's right as they head down the hill into turn number 5 and do the crisscross, getting on the power. A tiny moment earlier, he's got the overlap, he's to the door, he's to the front wheel. They'll go through turn number 7 side by side. but discretion is the better part of valour from Dickinson. But that is bringing back Tyler Maxson and Yves Boltas. 4-car scrap now behind Jared Thomas for 4th place.
Yeah, Maxson obviously on the fight back after starting on pole and now in 7th position, but Riley Dickinson cannot afford to relax at all. He's only got an 8-point advantage over Ryan Yardley in the championship after a fairly difficult Watkins Glen. And, well, at the moment, it's Ryan Yardley up in 3rd place, so he would actually close that gap down even further. And Jared Thomas is proving very difficult to pass here for Riley Dickinson as they come rushing through the kink. One of the biggest commitment corners on the calendar, really, really fierce. And if you get it ever so slightly wrong, put a wheel on the grass, the wall is there waiting for you. It is fierce at that part of the circuit as Jimmy Liebrecht continues to lead away then at the front of the field. I mean, what a rolling start that was from Libre. I mean, to get 1 is impressive when it's as tightly contested as this, but to get 2 in the opening sector, just marvellous stuff from him.
Oh, I'm afraid that we have a problem for the number 6, Alex Pratt, and the ACI Motorsports cars. Jimmy Liebrecht resets the fastest lap to a 209.979. We're hearing the start will be reviewed post-race. I can't think of anything that I saw that might have attracted the interest. Also, the coming together of cars number 2, Jimmy Liebrecht, and 91, Riley Dickinson, will be reviewed post-race as well, post-session as well. And it looks like Alex has got his car moving again. We've not yet gone to a full course yellow to bring out the new safety car. He's got power, I think.
The hazard warning lights are going. Yep, he's got drive as well.
Inside of turn 7, Peter, that top of the hill. Yeah,
quite an unusual place to be. Perhaps lost it on the exit, just coming out of the Corvette bridge. Yeah, I've done that on iRacing so many times, actually, now I say that. So, yeah, it's tricky there. There's a lot of camber changes. So, yeah, very, very easily done. Not the way to welcome Alex Pratt to the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. And Dickinson, he cannot find a way past Jared Thomas, and he's watching Ryan Yardley, his big championship rival, clearing off up the road with Zachary Vanier in front of him in 2nd. So, and good news that Alex Pratt has got moving.
And well done to Race Control for giving him the opportunity to rejoin. And Jimmy Liebrecht will probably be very happy that they didn't put out the full course yellow. And therefore we didn't have to see the Race Brew safety car out again.
As impressive as it looks, a wonderful livery design, I have to say.
Yeah.
I love the white, the red and black design with the Race Brew logo on it. Very, very cool. Race Brew, of course, something you can enjoy and drive. You can go out for a lovely dinner, have a Race Brew, and drive your Porsche home again.
Absolutely zero alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Something that is going to affect the podium in Pro-Am. Just wait till we see the end of this side-by-side for position further up the field. A very nice dark red, which we talked about a lot, and that's a special dark red wrap for the 27 of Aaron Johnson, having a cracking scrap for 7th and 8th for 6th and 7th rather, with Tyler Maxson. Tyler Johnson cooling his left-hand tyres down the grass there. That's another iRacing trick, which is somewhat frowned upon, in fairness. So number 19 is Javier Ripoll for City Marine Motorsport. Now he's running in 3rd in Pro-Am at the moment, and he's only about a 1/3 of a second ahead of Brady Bayman, and he is going to be penalised for 10 seconds post-race for an unsafe rejoin, because down at turn 5 he ran long. That's all right, but he came back on right close to the right-hand door of the Van der Steur Racing
think that was Michael O'Reilly.
No, actually, it was. I was going to say it was the Nola Sports car. Yeah, you're right.
They've got this wonderful commentary-friendly shade of bright yellow, sort of highlighter yellow, makes them easy to spot.
It's Brady Behrman who is going to benefit from that in the Van der Steur Racing, because he's only 3/10 behind Javier, and unless Javier Ripoll can pull out some 10 seconds, he's going to lose the Pro-Am podium over that. I know you want to get back on the track, but you've got to just take a breath sometimes, and that is a very high speed part of the circuit that people are coming down to, and they're getting on the power very early to get back up the hill. Now, also hearing that Aaron Johnson for Kelly Moss in that battle for 6th and 7th has been warned for blocking. Now, here in the US, very simply, you cannot make a move in response to the competitor you are racing. If you are leading, you pick a line and you hold it. If somebody goes to your right and then you move right, that is considered as blocking. Pick a line and stick to it. This has got nothing to do with moving once, moving twice, moving in the braking zone. It's fine to take a defensive line, but you must do it independently of the car behind. And therefore, Tyler Maxson has been putting the pressure on the Kelly Moss Racing Aaron Johnson machine.
And that's, of course, the big battle for the Rookies Championship between them. Both very impressive rookie seasons for Tyler and for Aaron. Of course, a debut pole position for Tyler Maxson as well. But a hand-to-hand combat battle there between a former MX-5 Cup racer and former touring car racer. I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, you've got to say they've both got close quarters racing experience in spades, haven't they?
Yes. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That's a great proving ground, and isn't that wonderful about the overall IMSA package, which the Porsche Carrera Cup North America is part of, is that there's lots of different flavours in there, and there's progression through there as well. And you know, look at how the drivers who have succeeded in this championship, what they've gone on to. Look at Steb Prio, you know, now a factory driver at the international level in GTs. You look at Luke Hartog, who raced at Le Mans for the first time this year and is doing really, really well, and seems to be in a race car and mostly a Porsche nearly every weekend, and he has jumped off his success as last year's champion. So this is a proper shop window to prove yourself, and indeed there are other championships in the IMSA package where you can kind of climb up that ladder, if you like.
So halfway through exactly the race, just on 22 minutes to go. And Jimmy Liebler with a scant half-second lead over JDX's Zach Vanier, and Top Racing in third, then JTR in fourth, and Kelly Moss in fifth. So with ACI leading, that's 5 of the big name teams down through the years who continue to be the big name teams in Porsche Carrera Cup North America and its previous iterations. 5 different teams in the top 5, and they are separated by 4 seconds at the moment, and Riley Dickinson ominously has just put his fastest lap of the race in and is just about a 10th away from the fastest lap of the race overall, which is still held by the leader Jimmy Liebler in clear air in that red, white and black number 2 as he heads down to turn number 8 and into the carousel.
And for Jimmy Liebler, I can imagine the heart rate is going even more than normal, because this, if he can hang on, it would be his first win of the season in 2025 in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. He was very quick in Miami, but unfortunately just didn't quite fall his way. And Zachary Vanier trying to chase him down, he's got the bit between his teeth, and he's got to be riding on a wave of confidence. Yes, it was, goodness, it was now 6 weeks ago we were in Watkins Glen, maybe even slightly longer than that, and he took the win there, and he's got to be riding on a wave of confidence, and he's thinking, I can get him, I can get Jimmy, I can take this race win, and I can close that championship gap. Vanier right now, he is 43 points behind Dickinson, which is a big ask, but a win, well, goes it all in the right direction, and that's exactly what Vanier will be hoping for. And until it's a mathematical impossibility, he's going to be trying his best.
Of course. And you'd expect nothing different for that. Down the front straight then, up 2 places. Jimmy Liebler through the first corner. And the JDX Racing Zachary Vanya car, the number 9. It's the Dom's Pizza car. Just unable to get close enough to make a meaningful move. He's in the hole being made by the leader with headlights blazing. Jimmy Liebler, as he drops down to turn number 5. Live from the 4-mile circuit here at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. The first of 2 races this weekend for Porsche Carrera Cup North America. Always crowd pleasing, and what a first few laps they were. 3rd place, Ryan Yardley in the black and yellow car. Just losing touch with the leaders by a 10th here, a couple of 10ths there, but holding a pretty consistent and comfortable 3rd position. Jared Thomas under pressure from championship leader Riley Dickinson, just half a second between those two, and they're 2 seconds back from a step on the podium at the moment. The red and white car ahead of the white and green car. Through the kink and down towards Canada corner. 2 of the more experienced drivers in Jared Thomas and Riley Dickinson. Well, Riley came in this weekend with a substantial lead in the championship. He has been knuckling down, come back to the championship after a year or so away. Found the championship in rude health. And with a new Yokohama tyre as well for this year. However, Peter Mackay, it took him no time at all to re-establish himself as he was the last time he was in this championship at the very top of the class.
It didn't take him long. I mean, really dominant in Sebring, and it was looking very dominant. And then all of a sudden in Watkins Glen, it turned around. 7 points scored in the last round at Watkins Glen. Was involved in that big incident at the start of the race and had to fight back. Did finish the race, but with minimal points, and that's what's brought the championship back together. He did have it well under control, but through no fault of his own. It was one of the biggest accidents we've seen in the history of this championship in terms of numbers of cars involved. And actually, we should, on that point, it should say, I wonder if Ashley Freiberg is watching. If she is, we miss you, because unfortunately she's had to pause her season because of the damage incurred in that incident. The chassis of the car, the engine, the gearbox, everything was damaged, and unfortunately that's put her unable in a position not able to keep going in this season, which is a real pity. But that's where motor racing can be incredibly cruel sometimes.
And it just goes to show, even with that dominant performance by Riley at the top of the season, a bad weekend, even maybe just a bad race, can really make things turn around very, very quickly. Just 8 points, as you mentioned, as they came into this weekend. And you've got to say that at this point in the season, the championship is wide open again.
Oh, for sure. Certainly with the top 2, definitely very, very close. It needs, I think, Zach Vanya needs to keep that winning train from Watkins Glen. He needs to keep it going. And right now he's still on Jimmy Liebler's case. Any mistake from Jimmy and Zachary Vanya will be right on him. And I have to say, this has been drive of the year so far for Jared Thomas. Yeah. You see a sort of mixed form from him, I think would be fair to say. And this is much, much more like it. Much what we would expect given his success in the Mazda MX-5 Cup.
Yeah. Jared, as I say, experience of close quarters racing. JTR is Jared Thomas Racing. It's his team. Just taking him a little while longer to get used to the vagaries of the Carrera Cup car. And there's no harm in that as Riley Dickinson drives round the outside at turn 1, and then Thomas tries to repay the favour at the bottom of the hill at turn 3, and will come out of turn 3 just a wee bit quicker. Fancy he had to lift there for a moment or just dab the brake, because he would have run into the back of the green and white Kelly Muscar. He'll come to the inside, driver's right, and he's got through back into that position. So this is the scrap for for 4th and 5th rather. But it's bringing 6th, 7th and 8th into fray here as Aaron Johnson is hoving into view. They go through turn 7 at the top of the hill, turn 6 at the top of the hill, now into the kink at turn 7. That was always my bogey corner, trying to take too much pace into that on the sims. And Johnson is right there now. So it's 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, because we've also got Tyler Maxson hoving into view for top racing. This is quality stuff just outside of the top 3.
Yves Baltas is just in the mix as well in the white and green corner, the driver who dominated at Miami. I wonder if Riley Dickinson actually gave that position back to Thomas, by lifting off on the straight, because he may have thought he passed out with the lines of the track, and doesn't want to get a penalty for it. So it could well be that Riley Dickinson had to give best, but regardless, absolutely remarkable run. He jumped to the outside. Jared Thomas held his inside line. Dickinson went right around. They maybe rubbed ever so slightly, but Dickinson way over the other side of the curb, a couple of wheels on the grass, and then got the move done into turn 3. But I think Dickinson maybe just blended out the throttle and let him back by again.
I think that is an absolute top piece of analysis, Peter Mackay. Right down the inside. How good does that JTR 911 992 Cup car look in that, what I think we would have to call now a classic livery? Do you remember the 911 Evo that ran in those colours?
Yes, and immediately I think of the TAG Turbo, which was a McLaren engine, it was powered a McLaren, but it was built and designed by Porsche. They called it a TAG because that's who paid for it, but it was definitely part of that. But yeah, I think you're right. Visually, that's a 911 GT1 Evo, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Particularly with the styling now of the 992. This is the launch version of the 992, if you like, the 992.1 as we have to call it now, because there's a new body style, and the new Carrera Cup car has broken cover. It's doing its development at the moment. I fancy that we'll be talking about it in more detail in September at the 992 Carrera Cup endurance round at Spa-Francorchamps, 12-hour straight-through race. Some detail changes to take in the body changes and the styling changes for the 992.2, but also more aero, more adjustability for the aero, some changes to the suspension. What doesn't change is the venerable flat 6, just over 500 horsepower, normally aspirated engine, so we're going to get the same noise. The biggest difference is blending the indicators from the bumper into the headlamps, so you won't have those little lamps in the bumper. Oh, big slide, and something's gone awry. That's a puncture there for Alexander Ryman in the City Marine Motorsports number 3. Saw that go there as he got on the throttle from Canada corner. It's not a puncture, it's a suspension. Suspension link's gone. There is still air in the Yokohama Advan A005, and that is either a bottom link or maybe a drive shaft just popping out. He gets on the throttle, the back end goes around. It's the left rear that is doing some rear wheel steering, which of course the GT3 car has, but it tends to work in concert with the driver and not against him, as that one was. So I'd opine that was either a drive shaft or a bottom link, toe link of some description on the Quan Loop number 3 machine. He's got a bit of scuffage on that corner. So if there'd been a bit of side-by-side contact there earlier on, Peter, and it almost certainly was with what was going on early in the race, 2, 3 and 4 wide, that might have just put overly put stress on some of the suspension components.
Quite possibly. That's such a shame for Alex Ryman, and he did very, very well to hang on to that car as it tried to break away from him and also managed to. It's a very difficult entry at Road America because it's very fast and you're trying to get across the road from the exit point of the corner, and he did that without getting in anyone's way, which is not easy when you're nursing a very damaged left rear corner. So yeah, big props to Alex Ryman there, but very bad luck indeed. JP Martinez, though, he's continuing his dominant form in the Solaris Pro-Am class, 25 points to the good in the championship, and he's out front right now.
Great save by Alexander Ryman. Don't think we'll see that car back out. Beautiful shake of the head by one of the City Marine Motorsports. And I think if they wiggle that wheel, the fact they've taken the rim and the Yokohama tyre off and they're having a good look under the left rear wheel arch, I suspect it'll be fairly obvious there. Meanwhile, let's check in with some of the class leaders. Peter Atwater has now put about a second and a half into the brilliant Herbie livery of the number 53 of Rob Walker, with that, as I say, that slightly distressed look, sort of dirtier look around the wheel arches and particularly around the back. It looks absolutely brilliant. Love it to bits the way it catches the light. And then in third position in that class is Scott Blinn for Ruckus Racing. He's only another 1.2 seconds further back.
And Scott, in the overall Solaris Masters Championship, has a big lead over Todd Parriott, who at the moment's in fourth place. So Scott would actually increase his overall championship lead, but excuse me, we do have the Andile Cup to think about as well, which is just for the IMSA sanctioned rounds. We've had a couple of Formula One rounds where we went to Montreal and to Miami. So that's one of the reasons why Rob Walker and Peter Atwater aren't in the overall hunt for the championship, because they're doing just the IMSA sanctioned rounds.
Yeah, good point. So that battle between Rob Walker and Scott Blinn just beginning to heat up at the front of the field. It's been half a second for lap after lap after lap. What has Zachary Vanier got to give in the last 7.5 minutes? Has he saved a little bit of performance from his Advan Yokohama A005 tyres? All of the cars running on the ExxonMobil Synergy Supreme Plus fuel.
That's one of the big progression points with the new car. It's been developed on a sustainable fuel blend, and e-fuels are something that Porsche are right at the forefront with. They have their own plant in Chile, and for me, you look at I'm saying well away of politics, but there's an existing road fleet which we need to look after as well. Future mobility solutions, absolutely, but existing fleet is going to have a purpose for a long time, and having a cleaner fuel, in my mind, can only be a good thing.
7 billion cars around the world that are running on internal combustion engines. That's just the ones in private hands. You can make a big difference to that overnight. Very impressive initiative from Porsche. The Mobil 1 Super Cup already running on what's termed e-fuel, basically carbon neutral fuel, and the next generation of Super Cup cars, because all of the GT3 cars in the World Endurance Championship as well running on it, and the next generation of Cup car, they trialled it in the Super Cup, and so they know the flat 6 engine can run on it without any loss of noise, excitement, most of all reliability. And so the new car, as Peter rightly says, has taken on the Super Cup tuning. It's distinctively different as well, despite the fact it's a facelift rather than a brand new platform. There's a distinct new look around the front end and the rear end of the car. The rear spoiler a bit larger as well, so you will see the difference. And the other thing that you'll see as well, you won't see it, but the drivers will. There's been some changes to the interior of that car. As I say, it's been trailed in camouflage. I feel we'll have more details of that at the 992 Carrera Cup endurance event by Porsche at Spa in early September.
I think we'll notice the very first time we put the stopwatch on it as well, because I don't remember any evolution of any Porsche model which has gone backwards. I cannot name one.
Well, certainly not in the racing cars, absolutely.
No.
Totally agree with you on that. Do you remember when this 992.1 came out? And I remember looking at the test times at Sebring and going, that's pretty close to a GT3 type. Still this battle for fourth position round the outside at turn 5. Riley Dickinson, this time on the rumble strip, gets through. Now, does he think that's a clean pass? Does he hold on to it this time through turn 6 and towards the kink at turn 7? Jared Thomas sits in there, little dab of the brakes. They both use the yellow and red curbs on the exit of turn 7. That's fine. Down the hill, another tough downhill braking area to turn number 8. They have not thrown off Aaron Johnson and Tyler Maxson. Now,
I wonder though if Dickinson's going to make a break for it here, because he doesn't want to let Jared Thomas get close enough to make a move, because that could then open up a whole can of worms with Aaron Johnson and Tyler Maxson, etc. He needs to get a real move on here, does Riley Dickinson. And now, next car he sees up the road is Ryan Yardley. Now, Ryan is 3.1 seconds up the road and 3.5 minutes left. There's a little bit of a mistake there for Riley Dickinson. He's pushing through Canada corner and Thomas is on him again.
That's cost him a good half a second or more in that number 91 Kelly Moss car. Kelly Moss with an extraordinary record in IMSA competition, particularly with Porsches and in Porsche Cup. Andy and Victoria run a very tight ship. They know how to win races and how to win championships. Their selection process for drivers has borne fruit as well down through the years. So down to turn 1, and all that hard work in the second half of the lap by Riley Dickinson last time around has been undone by that little mistake in a drag brake down into Canada corner, trying to take too much pace in, and that means the gap is now 3.2 seconds actually now, so it's remained similar. But Ryan Yardley looking set for a podium position, as is Zach Vanier and Jimmy Libre in second and first with 2 minutes to go. It will be white flag next time around for our leader Jimmy Libre. So round about 6 miles remaining of this first of 2 races this weekend. Jimmy Libre leading then in the red, white and black car from the black and yellow of Zach Vanier, then Ryan Yardley, sorry, the white car of Zach Vanier, then the black and yellow of Yardley. That gap, is that gap going out a bit to Yardley? Has Yardley used his tyres too much?
Yeah, I think after maybe five laps or so ago, I think he thought, I've not got the pace here to stick with Vanier and Libre, and he's just trying to breathe it home now and managing the gap. He's got plenty of time behind him as well, and Dickinson's now getting on with it. Look at the gap he's pulling into Jared Thomas. Fantastic stuff. 6/10 in sector 2 alone.
Down to Canada corner, no mistake this time. I don't know if he had enough to get to, never mind to get to and pass Ryan Yardley, but I think that mistake at that part of the circuit last time around has probably put paid to any thoughts of a podium. There is the white flag being waved enthusiastically as ever by Tony, our starter. I love her energy. Down to the first corner for the last time for the leading pair. Then Yardley, here comes Riley Dickinson. Johnson defending at the pit wall. Behind him is Tyler Maxim. I promise you there was a car behind there, but he was doing a good job of hiding.
And Maxim already on a warning for track limits. He's got to be careful here, so he's got to really walk the tightrope of trying to make a move on Johnson, but not do it by breaking track limits, because the race control, they are watching him very closely.
It's going to be Jimmy Libra's victory though, surely now, as Johnson goes to the left-hand side of the road, asking Maxim to come the longer way around. Down at turn 5, can't get it done. Again goes to the middle of the road, picks his spot early. Half a lap or thereabouts to go for the leader. 1.8 seconds at the line. Oh, Riley Dickinson is going to be kicking himself for that mistake in Camden Corner, because he is reeling in Ryan Yardley. I'm not sure it would make the difference. It would have made the difference, but he might have had a chance. And the key thing is putting pressure on the driver ahead of you. You never know what can happen if he sees your headlights coming up behind you. That said, Ryan Yardley is a pretty cool customer. But what a race. And just 2 corners to go from here for Jimmy Libra and ACI Motorsports. Peter, he has dominated this race. I think we got somebody just alongside him at the start of the race, and that was it. Once that he got that start and got away, he's bossed this race since then.
That he has. What a victory for the man from the Dominican Republic. A win for Jimmy Libra, a first win of the season. Fantastic stuff there.
ACI Motorsports will be celebrating tonight, but not too hard, because we've got another race tomorrow. At the line, it was a second and a half over Zach Vanier. Ryan Yardley was backing off a bit. Riley Dickinson got within 1.3 seconds of a podium position. Jared Thomas in 5th, Aaron Johnson in 6th, Tyler Maxon in 17th, Baltas in 8th, Paul Bacuse in 9th, Sabra Cook inside the top 10 at 10. And the top dozen, all pro cars, Jean Jadouin and Michael McCann. JP Martinez banks another stack of Pro-Am points in 13th, ahead of Matty Stewart in 14th, Alan Metney in 2nd in Pro-Am in 15th. We still have, of course, the coming together early on to be looked at, don't we? That was going to be reviewed post-race. I don't think anybody got any track. There was a lot of final warnings that were given out for track limits. But it was the winner, Jimmy Libra, and Riley Dickinson, the number 91. I suspect that's how Riley Dickinson dropped down the field, Peter, and that is going to be reviewed post-race.
Well, I think there's a couple of things that we've got a bit of digging to do, because Libra was ahead of Dickinson before he had that lap where he lost a couple of seconds. So when he dropped from 2nd to 5th. So there's definitely a story in there somewhere, but nevertheless, a great drive from Jimmy Libra.
And it's Libra, Vanier and Ryan Yardley that stand on the podium. What does that do to the championship lead? It was only 8 points coming in. We'll do the arithmetic overnight and bring you that tomorrow when we reconvene for the second race of this weekend. 10:30 local time, that's at 11:30 Eastern. And that is our second race of the weekend. JP Martinez, as I say, from Alan Metney, and Brady Behrman does get the result in Pro-Am. That was actually before even Javier Repoli had his Ripoll had his penalty. And in Masters, Peter Atwater by 2 seconds from Rob Walker, and Scott Blind takes the 3rd place there. Peter Mackay was with me, John Hindorf, in the booth, and it was a pleasure as always. Provisionally, I've done the calculations. Had to take my shoes and socks off. So good job you weren't in the Global Broadcast Centre with me. Provisionally, the championship down to a 5-point lead for Riley Dickinson as we head to the second race of the weekend tomorrow. Incident aplenty here for the Porsche Carrera Cup North America with Yokohama. For Peter Mackay, I'm John Hindhoff. Congratulations to ACI Motorsports and Jimmy Lieber on his first race win of the 2025 season.